right, welcome. It's game week. Obviously, we open up with a conference game at Boston College. Coach Dazio's done a great job with that program. You know what you're going to get, a tough, physical, well-coached football team. Going to present challenges in all three phases of the game. We'll have to be thoroughly prepared. First thing you see is obviously their tailback is a fine player, probably as good as there is in the country at that position. He's got everything. He's got speed and size, and athleticism, and plenty of components around him with a quarterback and tight ends and skill players. So certainly going to be a challenge for us on the defensive side of the ball. The kicking game, they've been very, very good, very sound and physical and tough. And then defensively, you know what you're going to get, too, from just a hard-nosed defensive front. I thought they were as good a defense as we played last year. Have a few new guys in there this year, but I'm sure it'll be the same type mentality. So we'll have to have a great week as we continue to prepare to go on the road up there. Questions?
I'll start it off with our typical question about Brock Hoffman. I assume you've not heard anything about him.
I forgot to mention that in the opener. No, I do not know anything. I'm sorry.
Just with the depth chart, I see you got Hoyt 1 and John Harris 2.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, will Brock continue to get reps this week? I mean, could it be possible that if a decision comes down this week, he could play, or do you have to move on in preparation to get those other guys ready?
In short, he'll still get reps till we know what the deal is. If he's eligible to play, I would imagine, barring any unforeseen circumstances, he'll play.
Justin, you mentioned the running game, 216 yards given up last year on the ground against Boston College. I know you like to kind of keep your nose out of what happens on the defensive end of things, but has there been conversations about that's got to be a point of emphasis, is slowing down and stopping that run game?
Well, absolutely. I mean, that's a point of emphasis every single week here. Now, actually doing it is a challenge. When they need to, they can get the quarterback involved in the run game as well, which poses a whole nother set of issues. But we certainly know that that's one of the keys to the game, is trying to find a way to slow down the rushing attack.
Jamari Connor got listed ahead of Khalil. What did he do to kind of earn that spot, starting spot? I think it was the only kind of starting player from last year that got displaced. So just what did Connor do to kind of win that job?
Well, Khalil is incredibly valuable. First of all, he can play all three safety positions. He's a starter on special teams. Went through huge sacrifice last year, playing beat up. So Shamari's been working at that spot since the spring, and continue to improve every single day. We have total confidence in being able to put Khalil in there at any time as well.
Raise your hand. We'll get your microphone. Questions for Coach?
I think you've spoken in the past about doing cut-ups of early season games, about mistakes that teams make. Probably no shortage of material in the Miami-Florida game. You going to do that again this year? And when do you kind of get a sense of when your team won't make those kind of mistakes? Or do you have a feeling going into the year?
Well, I would say it's been a point of emphasis. Like, it's situational football, intelligent football. We try to highlight those throughout the year, throughout fall camp, throughout the springtime, to continue to generate discussion about situational football and what is smart football. And it's easy to execute those things when it's 70 degrees and you're sitting and resting in a chair. But when you're out there in an emotionally charged physical game, sometimes those things don't go well. And getting our kids to the point where they can execute what we're asking them to do in those environments is kind of one of the challenges of coaching. So we try and educate them throughout the year and throughout fall camp. when the seasons begin, that's a great opportunity for us to, to capture those video clips and show it to them. So absolutely, we'll do that. Every Friday we have a lengthy meeting about things that happened in the previous week. Like, I charge everybody in our staff, if they see things in games that they're watching, to send me a text, and we just go about compiling those for the entire week. So I watched the game, and there was plenty of material in that game, so we'll certainly use that. And hopefully you get it that, when they start to see what gives them an opportunity to win, or what are winning attributes, and it hasn't been knock on wood, it hasn't been an issue for us here, but I think when they start to understand that it does help everybody by playing intelligent football, that the light kind of goes on, and they have a chance to kind of execute that on a more consistent basis.
Have you had teams that surprise you? Like this is a veteran team, and I expect them not to do this stuff, or a young team?
Yeah, like the one that comes to my mind is I was really shocked. When we started at Memphis, it was learning how to win. So it was a constant battle, and then by my third year, we pretty much had a better understanding of all of those things. I was a little shocked at the Tennessee game, my first year here, shocked in a bad way, because I thought we were a very mature football team. We jumped out to a big lead, not a big lead, but we jumped out to a lead, and we sort of lost our composure out there. And that was the biggest thing we talked about after that game, was just our overall lack of intelligent decisions. So anyway, that was a little surprising, because I kind of felt like that group was a lot further along, and when we were really pressed at that time, we didn't do it. I felt like by the end of the year we were where we needed to be.
You've talked about T.J. Jackson and what he brings, but how competitive was that right guard spot, and how important, he's veteran presence there, immediately kind of has the most years under his belt, experience-wise. What does you think that kind of brings to the line with him starting at right guard?
Well, he's been a guy that's slowly moved into playing time. He's played on special teams. He's a starter on 2 special teams. So he's got some athletic ability. He has continued to work hard. This has become important to him. We have, several other scenarios where guys could move around and all that sort of stuff. But, I'm glad we've got him, and this is his time, I guess is the biggest point. Like, he's had that growth and maturation time. Like, when we recruited him, he was, to say he was raw would be an understatement. I mean, he was a big athletic kid that has continued to stay after it and has earned himself an opportunity to get some playing time.
Jermaine.
Coach, back here. First of all, I just got to ask you, Stephen Peoples, one of your former players, getting into the coaching game, coaching his alma mater at Galax. Just your thoughts about him getting into the coaching game. And number 2, did you give him any advice about coaching?
Oh, I'm awfully happy for Stephen. He's one of my favorite people that we've ever had here or anywhere along the line. I mean, just truly a guy that's worked for everything he's ever gotten, whether it's scholarships or graduating from college. So happy for him. I think he'll do a fine job. He'll set a fine example. I know he's not afraid to roll his sleeves up and go to work, and I do think he's passionate about the game, and I think those young kids will probably be drawn to him because he's got a presence about him, and I'm happy to have another ex-player in the profession. I think that's good.
Did you give him any advice?
Oh, no, not particularly. Stephen is, he doesn't use a lot of words, period, so those conversations are pretty brief when we do have them. But, no, but I heard that, the other day or a couple weeks ago, and was awfully happy for him.
Other than the tight end spot and running back spot where you have an or between the 2 guys, and I imagine that's just personnel packages and how you determine to open the game. The only other first team guys it looks like you have an or between are Waller and Quillen. was primarily those two guys competing at that one spot, or are those four guys, including Webb and Chapman, sort of interchangeable in that one spot?
What was the question again?
Forget the first
I
part.
mean,
Just
you went
think about
through
last
on
part.
the offensive side of the ball, all the oars.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you got the corner, and then asked me about the guys that weren't oars. So you catch
they're
me
all
up
kinda
again.
oars,
One
I
more
imagine.
time.
I mean,
Like, who competed at corner? Is that what you're asking me?
well, you got Waller and Quillen there, and then I was wondering about Webb and Chapman. Could they all four play that one spot?
Right corner or
Mm-hmm.
left corner? Yeah.
So it's really four guys that are oars, more or less.
Yeah, whatever. Jermaine or Javon will
you
start
seen
at
this
one
before?
quarter, and Caleb will start at the other. Okay? The rest of the guys are competing to play right or left corner.
Gotcha. So it wasn't just Quillen and Waller competing at that spot. Is that
Yeah, all the guys get reps.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, they're all competing.
understood?
To
I'm just
try
talking
and-
about that one spot, though.
I know the differentiation between left corner and right corner is not that big a deal. Is what I'm
Got
trying
it.
to get at.
With the running back, the strategy kind of remains kind of going with the hot hand. Did you hope somebody would kind of solidify themselves as the top guy, or are you good with kind of what you guys have done with spreading the ball around?
No, I mean, yeah, I would like to have one guy that carries it 35 times, and if we don't, then we won't. I mean, I don't. I mean, you can't. You have what you have, and you go make the best of it. I've been really pleased with Deshaun and Jalen. I'm really, really pleased with those guys. So we'll see how it goes, and they both earned opportunities to play, and they're both going to play.
It sounds like Austin Cannon, Caleb Smith, Ishmael Cisse were put on scholarship recently. And I know you don't sort of publicize videos of stuff like that, but did you gather the team to announce something like that? What is kind of the moment for
We
those guys?
did briefly the other night. I can't remember how long ago it was, but usually I don't. But this time we did.
How valuable was a guy like Deshaun Crawford this fall to come in as a JUCO guy and slot in now to start in defensive tackle in a position of need?
Sure, it's been huge. That's the one spot that we knew we were going to have to play new or any inexperienced people coming into the season. So getting Deshaun here and getting him working out in our off-season program and getting him acclimated to Division I football, has been big. So having an extra spring with him has been very beneficial. He has benefited from that dramatically.
Was it just Cannon, Smith, and Cisse you put on scholarship, or were there anybody else that day?
That day, that's it.
Okay. Anybody else any other day this preseason?
We'll see. I don't know. You never know.
Couple more folks.
With defensively, is it going into the opener a week before with all the experience you got last year and just kind of the different makeup of the defense? What's the kind of the feeling like? Is it different? I mean, a week to go in the game. I mean, last year you had no experience. I mean,
So is it different this year? Yes.
But it's like, how does that manifest itself? Is the team more confident? Is the what's different? How is it different?
I would say they're more confident. Yeah. I mean, they're correct more times on the field. Does that make sense? Like when they practice, they're doing it correctly more often than 365 days ago, which would hope would happen, right? Like they have got more experience at least, and seem to be on the same page. We'll need to stay healthy in some spots, or there are some places where we can get inexperienced real quickly.
Let me try this one from a different angle.
Okay.
If you're in game week now and you've already been through all the offseason and you're still got an oar between the two guys at the one cornerback spot, what are you looking for on game week to determine who your starter is there?
Like, why do you guys get so hung up on who starts? Like, that drives me nuts. I'm serious. Like, they're both going to play. Like, who cares who takes the first snap? I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't understand they're both going to go play. Like, I don't know how many snaps one's going to play or the other. Like, I don't know how that's going to work out. But, like, who trots out there as the starter, to me, is almost irrelevant.
But they care, don't they? I mean,
I don't know. Like, I think they just want to play. I really do. You know, like, I think I'm not criticizing you guys, but I just think you make a much bigger deal out of it than it actually is. They're both going to play. They both earn the opportunity to go play. So, like, I don't know that anything's going to happen this week to decide who's going to play more or less. Like, they're both going to go play.
isn't it nice based on that you have to answer all these questions about oars basically on just 1 week?
Well, we won't put another oar on there again as long as I'm here. I can promise you that. I'm going to put a 1 deep out or 0 deep out. God. No, I'm just kidding. Like, seriously, like they're both deserve to play. And they're not sitting there chewing their fingernails wondering who's going to trot out there first right now. Like, they both want to play, and they're both going to play. That's the way it is.
Anybody else? Travis?
Hey, Coach, this is the third straight year that you guys sort of opened with a semi-high-profile opener, and I know you don't have a lot of control over that. TV dictates a lot of it, but do you prefer it that way, or would you kind of want to dip your toes in first before jumping in the deep end?
You know, like I feel comfortable either way. You know, if you really think about it, like our first year here, we opened with Liberty, and then had not that Liberty's not a big game, but then had the biggest game in college football history the second week, and probably underperformed in that game. I think everybody would agree. You know. Then you look at the other years, you play a big game right out of the box and maybe overperformed some. So, I don't know. Whatever it is what we try and make the best out of. I do like our philosophy and how we prepare for the first game, meaning I think our guys are fresh and have a decent idea knowing what to do by the time the first game rolls around. It probably depends on the team that you have, how you feel about that on any given year, how much experience you have. But Boston College would be a tremendous challenge if they were week 1 or week 6 or 9 or 12. So, and we know that they happen to be week 1. So we're going to get ready for them.
All right. Thanks, everybody. 11 o'clock tomorrow, I'll send something out. We'll do it coming off practice field with Coach Foster and student athletes. Ambassador of OR.